All right. Welcome back to TROYism, people, the Oprah Winfrey of podcasts. Not to be confused with Oprah Winfrey's podcast, but anyway, welcome back. Glad to have you. Hope you enjoyed the last show. Man, we got a lot to cover today, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Well, first and foremost, you see I got on my Prairie View A&M University hat, also with my PV. Can you see that PVAMU with the Panther on there? Yeah, that's because it's homecoming week. While I won't be going to homecoming this year, I homecoming is an amazing time. I actually, crazy enough, I had more fun at homecoming after I graduated. Like, you know how they say like the tailgate thing and stuff like that. I've had more fun after the fact because when I was in undergrad, I was the director of campus activities. Shout out to CAB, Campus Activities Board. So I was always working like the homecoming event. So I never really got to like just kind of relax and just have fun. I always kind of had to be on point because we did, we did like most of the events that week. But anyway, so after I graduated, that's when we started getting into like tailgate and stuff like that. And then that's when you start reconnecting with people who, probably were on their last year or second to last year or just left campus. Like all those people come. Like it's not just people who grad, like you don't need a degree to get on the yard, but for homecoming. But so it's everybody who ever went there, came there for grad school or did, 2 years there, ended up going to the nursing campus or whatever. But it's just that's that one weekend where like everybody comes together from across all years. You meet new people, and then if you're in organizations, you get to meet people who were in the organization, during their time, and it's just I don't know. It's such a like how we say like the cookout. HBCU homecomings are literally the cookout. Like you can bring like I wouldn't say go by yourself. I would say go with somebody who went to the school. But yeah, like go with your friend who went to, Prairie View, Texas Southern, FAMU, Howard, Bethune-Cookman, Clark, Morehouse, Spelman, Hampton. I mean, it's so many, and I'm leaving out a lot of them. Sorry, like Tuskegee and Southern and Grambling and Dillard. It's a lot. It's a lot of HBCUs, but any of them. I mean, that homecoming experience is that is pretty monolithic. Of course, you get into regions and history of the area and stuff like that, but all in all, it's a cookout. No matter what homecoming you go to, if it's an HBCU, it's a cookout. So shout out to everybody at PV. Hope y'all have a great weekend this weekend. Be safe, have fun, hydrate. Please, please, please hydrate. What else? Make sure you wear comfortable shoes because you're gonna be out there all day. Pace yourself too. No matter what you partake in, whatever you do when you tailgating, that's your business and you grown, as Tabitha Brown would say. But I'll say whatever you do, pace yourself. Moderation is key. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So, but have fun, be safe, and set your homecoming out. What else? What else is going on? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm still on this like homecoming stuff, and really just going back to being an undergrad, and I was very present during college, like during that whole experience. Like I was very present. So I'm not one of those people who look back and say like I missed out on anything. Although I never went on the spring break trip because again, I was in campus activities and spring break always fell the week before Spring Fest, which was like homecoming, not really, but like an activity week like homecoming. And so I could never travel with everybody to like the spring break trip when everybody actually went because I was planning and finalizing for Spring Fest, which was the week after. So that would be the one thing I may, have missed out on, but I don't really care too much. But everything else I was pretty present for. Like I made sure that I enjoyed my college experience. Like I didn't even get a job until my senior year, then I was ready to get my ass up out of there. So, I had two jobs actually. I had a job at Dillard's, and then I did campus security overnight Yeah, man, in Atlanta, I was taking like 18 hours, I think. Yeah, I was taking 18 because I had to get permit. I didn't get permission to take 21. I was trying to get the hell out of there. Like once it was a wrap, once I was getting closer to like getting into the real world and corporate America and stuff like that, like I was really excited to go into like the working world and like kind of start my adult life. I was very excited about that period. Um, but yeah, all in all, shout out to all HBCUs. It's a very unique experience. If I had children, if I have children, I'm definitely gonna be, you know, pushing strongly to go to. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell them I'll pay for everything if you go to a HBCU, but I'll only pay for half of it. That's fucked up. Oh, but I was laughing, but I'm serious. Uh, yeah, I no, no. You're going to a HBCU. That experience is priceless. And what crazy enough, you know what I learned? Well, not really crazy enough, but you think when you hear HBCU, you think it's like all black people, and so it's we're all again like I said earlier cookout, but it's different. It's like you learn the depth in diversity and how we are not monolithic in that regard, because you meet black people, but they're different black people. Like they're from Detroit and they have a whole different like AAVE that they use, and or they're from like Kansas City, or they're from Texarkana, Texas, and not Texarkana, Arkansas, because the city is literally on the border. So like half and half, like stuff like that. And then like I'm from the hood, so going to a school that specializes in agriculture, you meet a lot of the like cowboy types, and you meet like the future farmers of America and like the agriculture department. And I mean, it's just, and then we had engineering, so you met like really, really smart people. Oh, I think that was a gnat. Was that a gnat? We have a gnat in the studio. I'm gonna leave that in too. Where was I? Oh, just you get to see like all these, and then not even get into the multicultural aspect with like the students that come from the Caribbean, or the I'm trying to find the proper word to say. I don't want to just say Africans. I was going to say like the some of the foreign exchange students and some of the immigrants, and then of course the children of immigrants. But everybody's black. Everybody's black for the most part. Oh, we had our Latinos in there. Then we had like a few whites too. Like we had so few white people that you knew who all the white people were. Like the Latinos, they got a little, they started to grow, and like they ended up getting like their own sorority and fraternity and stuff. So the Latino population was growing, but yeah, if it was a white person there, I feel like we knew who they were. Like everybody knew who the white people were on campus. But even then, like it was still like if you were there, like it was family. Like you were good. Like you were good, man. But anyway, again, shout out to all HBCUs. Great times, man. To those that are in the HBCUs now, I know we're living in a crazy time right now, but use that time to prepare you for the world you're going into, but also use that time to feel totally safe and immersed in your blackness, because I'm telling you now, there's not a lot of spaces outside the yard where that is happening. So take full advantage of that moment. Take full advantage of that time. And so this is a pretty long-winded intro, but I always hold space for higher education, and I always hold space for HBCU. So it was well worth it. But sit tight. I'm going to come back, and we're going to get into some stories. All right, and we're back. Let's go ahead and hop into these stories. I have some deep thoughts on some, and then some not so much. So first and foremost, it sucks because we're in the second episode of season 2, and the last show I was talking about someone who had recently passed away, who held a special place in my heart, being Diane Keaton, for their work. And now I'm coming back to you, and it's like it even got a few more degrees closer. Um, so by now you probably know what I'm talking about. D'Angelo, well, that was his artist, his pseudonym, but he was born Michael Archer Yeah, Michael Archer. But he went by D'Angelo. That's how we all know him. We know him as D'Angelo. Passed away at the very, very young age of 51 from a private battle with pancreatic cancer. Um, Man, that one, I don't know. That one, I hope I'm not jumping out the window with this, but I don't think I am. I'll stand by it. It's a hill I die on. But um, D'Angelo passing, it felt almost like Prince died again for me. For me. Yeah, definitely for me. Because like the same way Prince like innovated that sound that they had in that era in the 80s where it was R&B, but it was a little funk, and then it was like rock, but it was that fusion, and it came with dances, and it came with a look. Like that's the same thing D'Angelo did for neo soul, especially for men. Like the women, like we had Erica Badu and the Laurens, and then later the Jills and the Guapales and the Floetries and the Music Soul, and that all fleshed it out. But D'Angelo innovated that space. It was almost like the Marvin Gaye of that. I always try to plug Marvin Gaye. I love Marvin Gaye. But that's what it felt like. Like his music, back to the Prince comparison, his music ushered in almost a new way of thinking, a new way of relating with one another. Like the way he talked. And we were let's take it back. Sicily, 1913. We were in, picture it, Sicily, 1913. Everybody know where that's from. If you don't, I'm not even going to plug you in. What was I saying? Oh, with D'Angelo, he came with like his own, like his music came with its own style. It came with its own swag. Like you dressed, we were wearing Argyle, and we were like, everybody wanted to be like Harlem Renaissance, like everybody wanted to be like a jazzy cat. It was peak D'Angelo and Kyle Barker. Like those were the poster children for that. It was Metro, but it was still very James Evans. And then there was a deep love and appreciation for culture, but within it, women. Like D'Angelo, and I posted this on my IG, on my personal page. D'Angelo connected with women. I never saw women. I haven't yet to see women respond to anyone like they respond to D'Angelo. It was getting there with Drake, and then Drake kind of took this kind of thug, hard, whatever he's doing now. He took the turn to whatever he's doing now. But before, when he had like the ladies, like Issa Rae and all them, like eating out of his hand, like he saw them in a way. But back to D'Angelo. D'Angelo, like, you could tell that women believed what he was saying. You could tell that women knew that while men and everybody else got to enjoy it, it was almost like they knew this is for us. He's making this. I mean, even down to the, ooh, there's my one. I knew that one was coming. Even down to just having a song, Lady, Brown Sugar, I mean, even Untitled. I saw somebody do a clip on IG talking about how does it feel? The Untitled song is like an entire song just about consent, like consent in 2000, the year 2000, like consent in the year 2000, like and it's threaded through this music. But I mean, and just the genre in general. And I know he wasn't necessarily pleased with being described as somewhat. I described him as an architect of neo soul. He didn't really like that because he didn't like the separation of R&B and neo soul and just the soul sound. He didn't like the separation of it because he felt like it was the same thing, just evolved. It was a continuation, not like it felt segmented to him. I hope I did that justice. But I said I was gonna start trying to catch when I say and then I caught it like right then. Anyway. Damn, what was I saying? I done lost my thoughts saying Oh, D'Angelo. I've been talking about D'Angelo the whole time. I don't know why I can't get back. But anyway, he just, the whole genre of like neo soul though, what it meant regardless of how his personal feelings, what it built, it pulled everything that was pure about R&B and soul music, because at this point R&B and hip hop were kind of married, no pun intended, but Mary J. Blige-ish, Mariah Carey doing hip hop tracks with the guy. So it was starting to blend into a world of everything that hip hop was, which was like braggadocious and, like the money, the lusty part of sex. And neo soul kind of just extracted that part of that was still soul, that was still connected to emotion, that was still connected to a feeling, that was still connected to community, that was still connected to what James Brown used to sing about in his Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Like, it was steeped in the culture, And so, but I'm a neo soul fan. Anybody who knows me knows, I love the big artists, and I love, not to say she's not big, she's paramount to me. But I'm just saying the global popish brands. I'm trying not to say Beyonce because it's more than just Beyonce, but you get the Beyonce-ish figures. I love them, but everybody who knows me knows that Erykah Badu is the beginning and the end for me. Like, I love it. And then the fact that we both from Dallas, then we both from South Dallas. So it was kind of like right there. But yeah, I love Erykah Badu, man. Like, even on my tribute, even for my tribute to D'Angelo on Instagram, I didn't want to use one of his songs. I wanted to use a song outside of his music to, honor him. And I chose Erykah Badu's Telephone because that if you've ever heard Erykah Badu's Telephone, is one of my favorite. Like, it's probably top 3 easily, and I don't see where it's not 1 or 2. But anyway, Telephone, it's an amazing song, and yeah, check out Telephone by Erykah Badu. But anyway, I use that to honor D'Angelo with my post on Instagram. But anyway, rest in peace to D'Angelo, man. Safe travels, brother. Thank you for just being you, man. It's so damn hard to be you. I mean, it was probably hard to be you then, but you couple in the social media and all this, the weight of what we have to deal with now, and it's really hard to be you when And I'm not gonna say he originated, honoring yourself, but he definitely made it cool. He made honoring yourself cool, because sometimes honoring yourself can, in the words of Erykah Badu, make you feel like you're by yourself. But he made honoring yourself cool, and he made groups of people who honored themselves come together and then honor one another. Like, I could do this all day, so I'm just gonna stop. But safe travels, D'Angelo. We will miss you, but thank you for leaving a legacy of music. And shout out to his family. I know he had a few children. I think he had 3. Of course, he shared one with Angie Stone, who also passed in March of this year. This year's been crazy because it doesn't even feel like it felt like it was like last year, but it was actually this year as well. Man, I don't even want to say thoughts and prayers because it feels kind of fake, but just sending my love, sending my prayers, sending positive energy to the family. And it's my hope that grief, it comes in waves and you're not overtaken by it. But anyway, let's move on. Try to transition a little bit to talk about what's affecting us all right now, even if we can't feel it or not. The government shutdown. So the government has been shut down for 20 days at this point. 21 days. 20 days at this point. And so right now at this stage, I think the longest the government has been shut down, I think ever, or even in modern history, is 35 days. And that was under Trump term 1. So now we're in Trump term 2. And I would say the air is far more tensed in this situation because there's ego involved. There's not only the disagreement on the budget, but there's a disagreement of ideologies at this point in this country. Like, this country is definitely split down the middle. And it's weird because it's split down the middle because of the fringe and not because I still greatly think we have far more in common than we don't. I know that sounds so the politicians grab that one and they wear it out, but it actually is a real statement. Probably one of the truest things a politician could probably ever tell you is that we do have more in common than we don't. And unfortunately, for a very long time, and I think this was ushered in by Trump, was we're catering and leaning to the fringes, and the fringes have the loudest voices, but they don't represent the majority. And so what we have now is we have the fringes with the biggest voices, and the fringe of the right and the left have shut the government down. Now, I will be honest, I want to say congratulations to the Democrats for not buckling and folding and putting the idea of the people, we the people's well-being in the immediate or in the interim over our well-being long term. And I commend you for that, because usually you fold and say, hey, we got to get in, we're only 20 days in, but so far you haven't folded. And I think that's the mindset of the party at this point, is to prove a point and to establish precedents of going the distance and thinking beyond the interim. Because you could fold now and, that will restore us to some point. But I think at this point you have to, again, think about the long-term effects of what you caved to today. So I commend the Democrats for that. The Republicans, it's kind of, unfortunately, it's kind of par for the course for them. They lock in on any issue, whether it fall above or below the line of morality. They don't really care. If they're all in sync, I mean, that's the party where they align with racism. So, what can you expect? But anyway, the government is still shut down. So let me bring this to you locally. Locally, states are already communicating with people who receive SNAP and EBT or food stamp benefits. They're already letting people know that November, you may not receive your benefits. So this shit is real. The month of Thanksgiving. So as I said last season, which was only this summer, but still last season, and I'm telling you now, if you have any capacity to store, if you have a deep freezer, if your big mama got a deep freezer or whatever, find somewhere where you can store some meat, get your non-perishables in order, do what you can with your benefits now. This month, October, well, shit, we only got 10 days left. That sucks. But hopefully if you can afford, if you can sell them, hopefully you didn't sell them this time. It's time to lock in. And I'm not too proud to say I would start circling these food pantries early. Like, don't wait till you get to that point. I would start circling these food pantries, these food banks. I would get online and find out where these places are. Like, I don't want to say, it's Great Depression time, but we are going to have to batten down the hatches and act like we don't know what's to come, because generally we do not know what's to come. We don't know if this is, what do you call it? Like a stalemate, or if this is a part of some grand design to collapse this thing for whatever reason. Like, we don't know. We could put on our tinfoil hats, or we can just be in the moment and go day to day. But what I will say is, shit, it's not getting real. We're at real, and we're deep. We're about 4 or 5 miles into, we're 20 miles into real. So, I don't know what people's financial situations are like across the board. I look at the general reports. I know that credit scores are falling. I know that people are falling behind on mortgages. I know people are heavily searching mortgage help and mortgage support. I know that people are falling behind. We're moving into the second. People are getting closer to 2 months behind on their car notes. So the writing on the wall is shit is tightening up around certain parts of the finances, And so I think we should start acting like that. And, if you're still living, within the bubble, or on the bubble rather, and you're doing all this lavish living and expensive because you can't afford to at this point, I'm not here to tell you to stop. I'm just here to tell you that whatever you can even put aside in measure to what you have, I would look at that as well. because there's a lot of instability, but there's like a fog and a smoke screen somewhere between the media and propaganda. So we can't see things clearly. And unfortunately, I feel like we won't see things clearly until it's too late. We'll be looking up like, damn, how do we get here? So just lock in on that. Another thing, the rest of our stories tonight are government. I think you just need to know it. I know it's boring to some of you, but you need to know it. And so here it is. Next, moving over a little bit. Well, the ceasefire has seemingly kind of already fallen apart. So Israel said that Hamas fired something into their territory, and without question, they responded immediately. Hamas saying that's not how it happened. They attacked them first, so they retaliate. Either way, right now it seems like, and this happened over the weekend while Trump was down doing a benefit for like $1 million a plate at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, that was happening. Wow, everybody was no king. The king was down there charging what is that? A stack or a rack? I'm old. A rack of plate. While everybody in the streets for the No Kings protest. I need to talk about the No Kings protest too. I'll do that next. But yeah, so the ceasefire. I think they're still trying to make it whole, but like I told you last week, I don't think it's going to hold on the strength of I do not trust Bibi Netanyahu at all for a second. I don't think anybody who works with him trusts him. I just think that he's very persuasive. Very persuasive. But anyway, like I said last week also, though, I would hope within that time they will find measures to not get back to that escalation that we just saw, that genocide that we saw. So, yeah. Thoughts and prayers to all involved. And so while they were making peace overseas, segue, we were having, or America, as in we as in America, I didn't go. But America was having a peaceful protest for No King's Day. And so they covered all cities. Like, it was kind of like the graphic. I'm going to put the graphic up somewhere right here. But they had, like, it was every little city. It looks like those little clocks behind the bank, at the bank, that say like London, Tokyo, Paris, New York, whatever. Like, I mean, they were all U.S. cities, I believe. Yeah, they were all U.S. cities. And so, yeah, but it was just funny to see. But the people showed up. And the people were peaceful, which is what you always hope for. Let's see what else happened with the peaceful. Of course, there were, agitators from the right who showed up and came and hurled their famous slurs, and they came to, frame it as violent and, kind of agitate some of the people. Overall, it didn't work. It was a very peaceful protest. Everyone went out. They were creative with their signage and stuff like that. And so clearly the president saw it, because how did he respond? He created an AI image of him wearing a crown like a king, flying a B-52 bomber. And from that bomber, he was flying over the protest, dropping out feces. Yeah, dropping out feces on the crowd of Americans. There's even a clip where the feces dropped down onto the American flag. So that was the president of the United. That was on his official page or whatever. He has like 3 or 4 of them. So one of those official pages, he put that. I don't know. It may have even been the White House page. But anyway, he put it out either way. And like, the president of the United States did that. Like, I don't know, what do we call this? I mean, they don't like DEI. I'm gonna come up with a name for this, because this is what they thought DEI was. This is what they thought DEI was. This is This is below mediocrity at best. And if this is the standard for what conservatives, or for what white supremacy, or what white privilege, if this is the standard for what you think is decent, I'm telling you now, this is why This is why you may carry an inferiority complex, because this ain't it at all. This ain't it. This ain't it. And this is why, no matter how he tries, no matter who he bribes, no matter any of that, he will never be a fraction of a tenth of the man that Barack Obama was. Ever. He could literally come and give us $5,000 checks, and he still will not be the man, a fraction of that man, a tenth of a fraction of that man that Barack Obama was in this country and for this country. And I have criticisms of the Obama administration, and yet and still leaps and bounds. So, I mean, give it up, Delicious. You look like a man. And so, shout out to America. Good job. Good show. And I'll be honest, it was a show. It was performative. I don't know what type of needle that necessarily moves. I don't think it really moves a needle. I think it shows that, what it does show is that the left is energized, and we'll always take that. You know, we'll take that. I don't want to diminish it totally, but it'll take more than that. It'll take far more than that. So, but good show. I won't diminish that. Good show. And so our last story today is about the government again. So, damn it, man, we've reached it. So this fall, the Supreme Court is actually going to be considering the Voter Rights Act. And hold on just a second, I want to pull this story up for you. All right, it says, and this is per PBS. The Supreme Court's conservative majority signaled it could upend a central pillar of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. The question at the heart of the argument is whether lawmakers can use race as a factor when drawing congressional districts. All right. I don't know where the fan is, but the shit knows where the fan is because it is hitting it. Man. We are really here. This is crazy, man. Like this is the stuff you say in a worst case scenario when you're just like creating a story out of thin air, and it's like real life. Like this, if this were a story, if this were a plot line on Scandal, we would all say, "Oh, they've jumped the shark." Like this show is on its way out of here. Like that's how like bad it is, you know. So here's the deal. This is what's happening. And I don't know if you've picked up on this, but this is what's happening. The same laws that the African American community and allies fought for to establish protection and protect the rights for the African American or Black American race are now being used to very well, like they literally reverse engineered racism so that they're the victim. That's literally what's happening. So where we said that we should be able, as Black people should be able to vote, Black people should be able to have certain things, they're saying you can't let people have certain things just because they're Black. Like, it's literally reverse engineering it. And it's, I mean, I want to say it's disgusting, but that would be redundant. Water's wet. I mean, my general thoughts on this is I don't have much faith in the Supreme Court, and we know why. And so I think we're just at the mercy of what we do. Wow, you thought I was trying to give in to them. Fuck them. No, we are at the mercy of what we do in the midterms. That's it. The midterms is the only way you can stop this shit show long enough to get Democrats back in power. Like, there should be people on the right now who say, damn it, man, we're going to put a Dem in office just to level this shit out. And then we'll get back to civilized fighting. I don't know if we may be too far. I don't know, because MAGA is a parasite that has pretty much gutted the Republican Party. And I wasn't a fan of the Republican Party before, but this is not even the Republican Party. This is what happened when a parasite embeds itself within your party and eats it from the inside out. That's what this is. This isn't the political party anymore. This is the Confederate cosplaying MAGA within the Republican Party. That's what they're doing. And this time, they even were so smart and said, we're going to have a Yankee lead the charge, so it'll throw them off. I'm just saying, man, shit has, like I said, we're about 20 miles into shit is real. And so I know that's a lot to grapple with. I mean, the government is shut down right now. He's over here trying to play Mr. Nobel Peace Prize, trying to get a ceasefire that's falling apart by the hour. The Voter Rights Act is up for grabs on the basis of race. So, it's a lot going on, man. It's just a lot going on. And nobody cares about this stuff because the first thing I said is going to affect you the most, as it should. The government shut down. People are already losing jobs. Federal workers are already furloughed. So we're at this tricky point where I don't know, because I don't want the Democrats to fold. I believe that this is worth saving the future than just getting by for the interim. And I know that's a hard thing to say when people are staring down the barrel of Thanksgiving, they're staring down the barrel of the holidays, they're just staring down the barrel of their daily reality and expenses of getting by and trying not to end up on the street. So I get me saying that feels like a departure from what should be the priority. I get it. But I just believe in the power of sacrifice for the long term. That's how we're all here. Like, if you're a Black American in this country, you are here because somebody thought that there was a sacrifice that would be worth it at some point if we just kept going. And so I'm of that mind and I'm of that mindset. And so I think this is a time where we, like I said, look at those resources I named earlier. We have to pull together. We have to, if you have extra funds, this will be a good time to adopt a family for Thanksgiving. Adopt 2 or 3 if you can. Adopt a family for the holidays. 2 or 3 if you can. If you got bags on bags on bags like that, rent out a hotel convention center and just provide Thanksgiving dinner for people in this area. It's that time. We gotta carry each other to the government, figure out just exactly what the hell we are, if we're a country or a company. Because right now I just feel like we're just all slowly quiet quitting and getting laid off. So let's take a break though. We'll take a break, switch the energy up a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll do friendly reminders. All right, and we're back. And now it is time for what is quickly becoming my favorite part of the show, friendly reminders. I think I like this part. I know I like this part, actually. I like this part because this is the creative part where I get to write and be a little more colorful and I guess share a little bit more of my insight and perspective on things. When it comes to the story, the stories, I really just try to be more informative than anything, just to make sure that you have the information, like I said earlier, and it's just out there. But this is where I get to have a little fun and kind of show a little bit more of my thought process and how I view the world. And so this is the parts where I look forward to engaging with you all. So let's get started. Friendly reminder, quite like your coworkers, ChatGPT is not your friend. Recent studies reveal that people are beginning to use ChatGPT as their therapist. Here's the problem with that. 1, it's not a therapist. It's an algorithm. Be ye not deceived. It's an algorithm. 2, it's not licensed. And it can't be licensed because it's not a person. See reason 1. It's an algorithm. And then 3, which I believe is the most important, is all this data that you put in here, quite like has a digital footprint, quite like everything you do on Twitter or X or whatever, or IG, Facebook. There's a digital footprint, and if you are having full fleshed out conversations with a chat bot, an algorithm, they are storing and collecting all of your questions. I saw a story and I wanted to share it. It just didn't fit into doing it last week. But there was a story, and I may look it up and give you the details next week just to kind of loop it back. But there was a story where the authorities used a ChatGPT search to get a heads up on someone who was going to commit a crime. I don't know if they were going to rob something or if they were going to harm people. I think they were going to harm people. But yeah, they used the ChatGPT search because I guess there were triggers because he was asking how to do this or how to get, like crazy shit, like how do you get rid of the body or the smell or the blood, shit like that. And so, yeah, don't be telling these bots all of your business because they store this data and they store it enough to know that a lot of you are using this shit for therapy. Go to therapy. If you have benefits, all you got to do is you can literally get online and put your insurance provider and it'll give you a host of therapy services for you. So, yeah, man, and even if you can't, don't use the AI chatbot. I know that honestly, a lot of the reports say that it's helpful and effective, but these are the people who are also in need of therapy. So you can, take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, don't be doing that, man. Not cool. Next one. Friendly reminder. Be patient. Think about it like this. At 300 degrees for 3 hours, a turkey is ready. At 900 degrees for 1 hour, that turkey is done. Listen, Linda. I know we get caught up in the chaos of life, especially now, because there's always been the hustle and bustle. That's just the American way, the grind, work very hard, work your fingers to the bone, or at least that's the illusion that they paint. But generally for all of us, that really is the story. You work your fingers to the bone, whether you get credit for it or not. But the idea of America is work hard, work hard, work hard. So the grind and the hustle that's one thing. But we're getting into this space ushered in by social media and ushered in by AI, where it's pushing us harder and it's causing us to focus on more things at a time. And so not only are we in the grind and the hustle and bustle, but now we're, see the last one, we're actively, working on our mental health and we're trying to have work-life balance with our friend, and social media is telling us we're getting it all right, or social media is telling we're not getting it all right, or social media is giving us additional tips on how to get it right. And so it just becomes this loop of races. It's not even one race anymore. It's just a loop of races. And so we get so caught up and we don't understand that what brings us to each moment is our ability to be present. So be present. It all starts with being present. Please be present. And if you don't know how to be present, or if you don't know what present is, let me go back. I'll tell you what it is, and then I'll tell you how to achieve it, or a step that will help you achieve it. Being present means to, even in your thought process, even if you're saying nothing, you are engaging with your thoughts in that moment. Being present is walking down the street and saying, oh, wow, that's a pretty flower. Or walking down the street and saying, oh, they need to pressure wash that mother. You know what I'm saying? Pressure wash this motherfucker. Oh, again, if you know, I would drop a lot of Easter eggs. They're not really hard if you like on social media, but anyway. So being present is the act of even your thoughts being in the moment, not in the past, not nostalgia, not in the future, planning out or planning ahead and stuff like that. It's really being in that moment and taking in your surroundings in that moment. So a good way to help you be present is doing tasks that have steps that you can do almost on autopilot, so that it allows you to be in the moment, to where you have to not autopilot, I take that back. That has steps that forces you to be engaged. That's what I meant, not autopilot. The opposite, engaged. To be engaged with the process. So a good one is to make your bed. So that's why making your bed is so important. First of all, if you've ever been depressed or just, feeling down, you know how big of a deal getting out of your bed is every day. Because some days you don't get out of your bed. But making your bed, it's actually one of the first things you can do to help yourself be present, because that is a process in which you have to go through and you have to be clocked in and checked in. But that's the equivalent of what I just said about walking down the street. It's noticing. You have to be engaged in the process and notice. That's being present. That's the best example for being present. Making your bed, or another task, washing dishes. It's crazy how chores keep you present, right? But yeah, things like that. Anything that requires a process. I told you before in season 1, I'm a builder. So I like to put together like the IKEA shelves. Now, don't start calling me to put your shit together. But although if I ain't got nothing to do, you might catch me on the right day. But I like putting like furniture together and stuff like that. But also because it keeps me present. And when I'm doing it, while I am going through the process, I'm, reading the instructions, I'm also thinking, just having, thoughts in that real moment, and it's weird how when you're doing a process, even though you're focused on the process, it gives you space to just almost, I want to say not think, if that makes sense. It's like the thought absent of thinking. I don't know. That sounds crazy, but either way, find a task or a chore. You can start with chores if you're not quite certain, but start with chores and just find a way to be present, because I'm telling you, we miss a lot of stuff thinking about the past or reflecting on the past, and we miss a lot of things trying to forecast the future. The now is the most important thing. I'm not saying don't honor the past. I'm not saying don't plan ahead. I'm just saying when it comes to your thoughts and being in the moment, you gotta be present. So be present. Next up, friendly reminder, and this one is more to the government, politicians, and the Trump administration. Be careful when you attempt or set out a pursuit to take everything a person has, because at that point, they have nothing to lose. So you're seeing with the rolling back of DEI, and you see what's happening to the Latino community and just immigrant community. It's not even just about Latinos anymore. I don't want to frame it as just Latinos, because it's all of us if they show up at our damn door, unfortunately. And so, but you just see our rights and you see these things being rolled back. But there's a tipping point. And unfortunately, I think we're very close at that tipping point. And it's in the form of what's happening with a deployment of troops, and coupled with local law enforcement, coupled with this shit show known as ICE. What we're seeing is a violation of law by those who are here to enforce law. So you see a direct violation of law on the strength of because I say so, or because I was ordered to. If you don't uphold the rule of the law as law enforcement, then to some degree and at some point for sure, the law ceases to exist on both sides. And I fear that we're getting we're really dancing with that right now. Because there is only such a point, and I'm not trying to incite a riot. I'm just saying I'm not stupid, and I can see where this is headed. Like, you don't have to drive off a cliff to know that a cliff is ahead, And so I'm just saying we have to, you hear that plane? Plane overhead. If we would like at a production, they'd be like, hold. That was a big plane. But anyway, yeah. So with that though, it's that's the part that's a little unnerving to me, because I don't know what that tipping point is going to be for the general public. And that's one of those genie bottle things. Once it's out, you cannot get it back in. And I don't know what the path to civility looks like after something like that. So again, midterms, very, very important. And if you're in California, vote yes on Prop 50. Yes, it allows us to redraw the maps like Texas did, so that we have a better shot at getting the majority in the House. Because remember, if the Democrats get the majority in the House, a lot of this madness stops. Maybe it's slowed down, very, very slow, and they may try to push and finagle because they're crooked. We can see that. They bend the law or just look the other way, really. But this definitely works in the favor of the Democrats. And what I think now is, it's not even about Democrats. I think it's the general will of the American people. So, yeah, be careful, American government and Trump administration in general. The general public has a tipping point and a breaking point. And I know you have planned for that, and some are even alluding to you are planning for that. But I don't know. It's kind of weird to want to be the Nobel Peace Prize winner and then also be the same guy single-handedly responsible for crushing a 250-year institution. Your name would be burned through eternity. So, yeah. Let's take a break before I get to the last one, because the last one is going to be one of those tough talks. But yeah, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do our finally friendly reminder. All right, and we are back with our final friendly reminder. It's one of those. Friendly reminder. Parents, you have one job as a parent. It's only one job. Now, there may be a million bullet points depending on your parenting style, but you only have one job. And that one job, I'm going to stop smiling because I'm serious about this. You have one job. And that one job is to make sure that beyond the point that you're able to, that your child can survive without you. That's your one job. It ties everything together. If they can survive beyond your death, that means that you raised them to survive, one, the obvious. You've extended your legacy because they're going to carry your legacy on, and then they will have children or come in contact with people in which they will pass on the lessons you taught them to survive to others. That's how that works. That's how legacy goes. Granddaddy taught daddy how to survive, and daddy taught son how to survive, and that's how you're on your third, fourth generation. That's how that works. So the legacy is tied into that responsibility as well. Now, this is where a lot of parents detract. And before I get into this, before people say, well, you ain't got no kids, so you can't tell people how to raise no kids, blase, blase, blah, blah, blah. Let me say this. One, I was a kid, as we all were, and I took a lot of notes. So you can't tell me what I can talk about. And two, having kids doesn't make you an expert on being a parent any more than standing in a garage makes you a car. And I have two ways to prove that: CPS and adoption. So I'm going to proceed with my point of view. You have one responsibility, parents, and that's to make sure that your child can survive beyond the point in which you can take care of them. I saw two examples this week, because this wasn't even going to be a friendly reminder or a talk, but I saw two sharp examples in the Black community this week that got me to this point. The first one I saw was a podcast clip, and I hate that I don't have the podcast information because I would want to shout them out. But the clip with Mama D and rapper Lil Scrappy, but they're both known of Love and Hip Hop fame. They were having a conversation in which Mama D was sharing that at the age of 14, well, Scrappy was sharing and Mama D was affirming that at the age of 14, now we know Mama D was a pimp back in the day. If you don't know, Mama D was a pimp. Deborah was a pimp. And her house was the whorehouse, and Scrappy lived in the whorehouse. So Scrappy grew up quite like Richard Pryor, ironically. Scrappy grew up in a whorehouse, essentially. Well, shit, that's what he said. He said on Love and Hip Hop. I told y'all, Love and Hip Hop is my stories. Those are my telenovelas, so don't judge me. I know them people like they're my cousins. But anyway, so Mama D said, well, Scrappy said, like I said, at 14 for his birthday party, she got strippers, adult women strippers, to come and dance for him and his friends at his 14th birthday party. We know what the implications are there. We know what the problems are there. But I want to move a little further because that's going to tie into the second thing I saw this week. She went on to then say she wanted to make sure that her son was going to be a man and wasn't carrying a purse at some point. So she was basically saying, I introduced him to his sexual nature prematurely because I wanted to ensure that he grew up to be a heterosexual male. That's what she said. Again, all the bad implications implied. So this segues into the other story that I saw. And then I'll, bring it all home. I'll make a good old gumbo. I'm making the roux right now. I'm getting the roux. You know how you get, if the roux ain't right, then throw the gumbo away. So I'm making the roux. We'll drop everything else in after. So continuing with the roux. So then I saw another story that kind of segued into that, where Tami Roman and her daughter were sitting down on Kandi Burruss and her daughter Riley's podcast. Again, I'm sorry I don't have the name. I got to do better about that. But on this one, Tami Roman's daughter, who is a lesbian, said that she will not be able to invite her significant other of, I think she said either 8 months or to a year. So they've been together a significant amount of time. 8 months to a year, she's not invited to her graduation because her mom, Tami, will not allow it. When questioned about that, and Kandi Burruss is going to be a meme because her reaction was my reaction, was many people's reaction. But Kandi Burruss's reaction to that, was, okay, Tami, why? What, that's weird. Why? And Tami Roman goes on to say that it was based on confirmation bias. And she explained to us what confirmation bias is, which is basically we tend to migrate towards those things that make us most comfortable. So even given the position of authority and power, we tend to pick those things that look like us and make us feel most comfortable. Another good analogy for, not a good analogy, but another analogy for confirmation bias is when a white cop pulls over a white person, it's less inclined to get violent, even if the person is indeed a threat. And quite the same, this isn't a race thing like that, not a racist thing. Quite the same with a black cop. A black cop is more inclined to be more comfortable just because they're, in most cases, you get a few of those Stephen A. Smiths. But in most cases, their upbringings overlap and their cultural experiences overlap. So they're more inclined to, align even when one is perceived to be a threat. So that's generally what confirmation bias is. It's basically I pick things that make me feel comfortable, and things that look like me or feel like me make me feel comfortable. So she was going on to say that, heteronormity, or just basically, for the hood, being straight makes her comfortable. Her being Tami, she said being straight makes her comfortable. And so she's not comfortable with her daughter's partner being around. Kandi goes on to say, but you have another daughter who's straight. Can her partners come around? she goes on to say, well, yeah, they can come around because of confirmation bias. I am used to seeing heterosexual couples, so, and that's what I want and expect pretty much of her daughter. So yeah, that's fine, because her other daughter, who is older, I believe, by like a few years, like a year or two, but she's straight, so she brings dudes around, but she allows her to bring dudes around. Tami allows her to bring dudes around. So when I first saw both of these clips, I knew, well, when I saw the second one, which was, I thought I saw Tami second. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I know I definitely want to talk about this on the show. But I also was talking about it from a place of rage. I was angry because it overlapped a lot of my experiences growing up, and being othered and being ostracized or made to feel inferior just because of how I showed up as a child, mind you. How I showed up, my authentic self as a child, it was ostracized and I was othered, you know. And we are clearly going to get into those things later. But for the sake of this discussion, I'm just going to kind of brush over. When I saw that, I was mad and I wanted to come on here and I was going, you know, like all the other, you know, blogs doing, like ripping them to shreds and and talking shit. So much so that Mama D came out and doubled down on her initial, you know, infractions. But anyway, so I had planned to come on here and kind of add to that, but then I was like, no, I kind of want to speak to what I saw, and I wanted to speak to what I wish people had spoke to or spoke in this way when I was having these experiences as a child growing up. And so I'll start with Mama D and Scrappy, I think, because they're both older and they're both in a position. Mama D, you need to go to therapy. Mama D needs to go to therapy by herself. No cameras, not for Love and Hip Hop. Don't go with Scrappy. You need to go to therapy. And I'm going to tell you why you need to go to therapy. You need to go to therapy because your trauma is holding your child hostage. And I'm not talking about the trauma you did to Scrap. I'm talking about the trauma that you have not dealt with in your life. Therapy working. You've not dealt with that in your life. And so because you are not dealing with your trauma, you are passing on trauma. You've passed on trauma to your son, and you're holding him how he can never be free with a relationship with you until you deal with your stuff. If you want a relationship with your child, you need to go to therapy. Scrappy needs to go to therapy by himself. By himself. I don't even know if the possibility of y'all going to therapy together, like y'all need to go to therapy by yourselves, and you need to go and tell your therapist the truth and unpack your trauma, because I'm telling you right now, that's not normal. And you should have been arrested and you should have lost your child at 14. I know a lot of people do it the other way when it's an older man and little girls, but it's the same thing. Y'all don't protect boys. And you know what? My friend Marquis said this and it stuck with me. He said they always try to say boys are easier to raise when the truth is boys are easier to neglect. Y'all aren't raising your children. You are not raising your children. You are shaping who you want them to be because it's a reflection of you. That hops me over to Tami. Tami Roman says she has confirmation bias. And that confirmation bias, in my opinion, it stems from, I need some water. All right. I'm back. That confirmation bias extends from her ideology of wanting to be perfect and present perfect. Remember, Tami Roman is the one we thought was about to check up out of here because she lost so much weight, and to come to find out she felt like she was in the shape of her life. Tami Roman seems, because I don't know her, Tami Roman seems to have an idea of what perfect looks like, and that includes having children. She even said it in an article or a clip somewhere alleged. I read it. I don't know if she truly said it, but it aligns with what she did on that podcast. So it wouldn't be too far from who she's presenting herself to be. But she said that she struggles with her lesbian daughter's reality because she never planned that for her children. Newsflash, Tami Roman, this is not your life. And your job as a parent is to make sure that your child can survive beyond your death. That is it. Because I'm telling you what I saw with your daughter. All that cackling and laughing she was doing, she was masking. She was nervous. She was uncomfortable. And all she was hoping was she could laugh long enough to get to the next moment and pray that it wasn't as uncomfortable as the moment she was trying to escape. She is afraid of you. Your daughter is afraid of you. And she's afraid because the inkling that a lot of us had growing up, you affirm, is that my mom, I have a sibling, and I watch my mom be unconditional with my sibling in love, and I watch her put conditions on mine because she doesn't approve with how I naturally show up in the world. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. And what's more disgusting is Tami Roman is not an isolated case. Mama D is not an isolated case. And I'm not going to make this a single black mother thing because it's more about the absentee fathers more so. And it's also about, again, holding your child hostage with your trauma. Don't hold your daughter hostage with your trauma, Tami. You have a problem with how you show up in the world. You have body dysmorphia. You didn't even know you looked like you needed a wheelchair because we were concerned for your appearance without trying to judge you, a la, on the heels of what happened to people like Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. But you do have a problem with how you show up in the world. And you have a problem with projecting your ideas of perfection onto your children and your child. Because I'm pretty sure you put that idea of perfection on your other child in another way. It's just not at the line of sexuality. But here's the thing. You are stifling them. You are stifling them. And what I would want to say, if your daughter were to hear this, I would tell her, you go to therapy, get in therapy by yourself, because you're going to need a head start on undoing the stuff that your mother is doing to you. Your mother is actively traumatizing you right now. She is traumatizing you by holding your sister in a light that is unconditionally love and putting restrictions and conditions on your love. I'll tell you another thing I would do. If you are grown, this is general. If you are a child of a parent who shows up in your life like this, if you are an adult and you are paying all your own bills and you are actively contributing to society, there does come a point. I know the blacks in the South and the Christians not going to like it, and I don't care. There comes a point in your life where you have to tell your parent, I'm grown, just like you was grown when you were my age. I'm grown. And while I respect your opinion, it is not doctrine for my life. And if you have a problem with the way I live my life, then you cannot be so close in proximity to my life. Always honor your mother and your father. Now, that shout out to Talia Mungeon. She told me that. She worked at White Creek ISD, or she did. I probably shouldn't tell all her business like that. I just said her full name and where she worked. I do one of these every show. That was all fake. That was fake. I forgot her name. I don't remember what it was. Shit. Anyway. She said a good thing. She's a good person. She's a sweet person. She said, always honor your mother and your father. So I'm going to tell you that. Always honor your parents. Honor your parents has nothing to do with them being in your close proximity and affecting the way you view yourself in your life. I would tell her daughter, get in therapy, and you need to draw the line. I would also tell her daughter, invite your partner and tell your mom that your partner is coming. And if she has a problem with that, then she doesn't need to show up. And just in case your mom paid for your schooling, because that's the angle the parents throw at you too. The parents always do this. I brought you into this world. I put food in your stomach and I put clothes on your back and I did this and all that. And your kid didn't ask to be here. I don't water my plants and be like, you better be glad I'm watering you. You better be glad I'm putting you in the sunlight. Otherwise you would die. Yeah. And then I would have a dead plant. And my responsibility was to do what? Keep the plant alive, because I did what? I went out and sought the plant. Does it make sense in analogy form? You don't owe your parents anything because they did the bare minimum of not going to jail for neglecting you. You don't owe them anything for that. That's their job. Now we honor our parents for the sacrifices they make to do that, and you should. But no way should you feel indebted to your parent, especially when it comes to your lifestyle and your identity of how you show up in this world. With all due respect, if your parents are treating, your parent can kiss your ass. because you don't need anybody in your life related by blood or otherwise making you feel small for just simply showing up the way you are, or acknowledging that they may have had some blind spots and you got to go fill them in, because that is your responsibility too. Our parents, we can be birthed into all this trauma. A lot of us are. I was. But how we unlearn and relearn is up to us, and how we go into the world and how we show up and what fruit we bear and put forward into the world is up to us. But with it being up to us, again, going back to last week, the accountability we take, then we are in control of our lives. And the last thing you can't be in control of your life and have your parent backseat driving. Shut up and ride. This is my life. I have to make these choices because I have to be okay with these choices if they don't go the way. I can't blame you, and I can't go out into the world blaming you when I'm grown paying my own bills. So yeah, don't let y'all parents shame y'all into doing what they say when they be like, I brought you in this world. Now don't be a shitty human being either. Honor your parents. This is in no way me telling you to disregard and disrespect the sacrifices that your parents make. That is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is be a damn adult and let your parents know you don't run my life. I honor you with my life, but you don't run my life. Now, the caveat to all of that is, and I said it earlier on, but I want to circle back and tell you, you need to be paying your own bills. You need to be living by yourself. You need to be, not by yourself, but you know what I mean, outside of your parents' house. You can't be relying on your parents for any financial dependability in any right. Now, I know this get tricky when you got kids too, because your parents be your built-in babysitters. That's not my ministry, but I would still say, as long as your parents are taking advantage. Oh, no. I got a fix for that too. You got the kids. You got the grandkids. Use them grandkids. Leverage those grandkids against your parents. Disrespect me again, and you're not going to see Jamal and Keisha. Because we black. And we got Jamals and we got Keishas. And we going to say, them our examples. We ain't going to do Amy and John. Jamal and Keisha. You ain't going to see Jamal and Keisha if you keep disrespecting me. Now you're going to have to find a babysitter. But you stood your ground because you're grown. And I'm proud of you. So I'm glad I could wrap this up lightly, but I do want to sit with the gravity of this, especially since I went to see, I was invited to a screening. Thanks again, Marquise. I was invited to a screening for a documentary called Light Up. And it's streaming several places. I know one is Amazon Prime. I think one is like Disney Plus. I'm gonna put it up. I'll post the graphic for sure. But I saw it, and it was strictly about this. It was about LGBTQ kids growing up and how they had to, and that's why it's called Light Up. I later learned in the Q&A after, but they were coming from these places of darkness into the light, and all of those journeys were so traumatic and so which we all have those journeys. We all have those journeys, and so. While I want to end on a light note, I do want to keep the gravity there in saying to the children, Scrappy, who's not such a child, Scrappy older than me, but either way, to the children of those situations, and then Tami Roman's daughter, I want to say, get the help you need, because there may have to come a point where you may have to create distance between you and your parent because they refuse to relieve themselves of their trauma and you want to be free. That's just how that goes. Always honor your parents. Always love your parents. But don't be beholden to your parents' idea of what your life is supposed to be. This is your life. Your social security number is not their number 0.1 or 0.2. You have your own social security number. You have your own fingerprints. You showed up here to do your big one. Do your big one. Don't do your mama redo. This isn't your mom's do-over. You want your dad, and to anybody, you're not your mom or your dad's do-over. You're not their correction. I like the way Erykah Badu always says about her daughter, an improvement on a design. An improvement on the design. That is it. Your parents should be putting you in the best place to be the better version of them. But that is in no way you coming back and righting their wrongs. That's not your job. That's not why you're here. Your job is to take the things they taught you of survival, again, the one job they have, of survival, and you go out into the world, because they taught you how to love, they taught you how to converse, they taught you how to read, they taught you how to speak up for your best interest, they taught you how to defend yourself if someone's trying to physically accost you, they taught you your rights, they taught you to take care of yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically. Those are the tools I'm talking about that you need beyond the point they can provide them for you. That's what they should be teaching you. Like I said, it has a bunch of bullet points, but there's one job. Upon your parents' last breath, you should be able to survive without them. That's the only reason they were sent here. The only reason. And that's the one thing every parent can do, no matter what the socioeconomic status is, because we teach each other, and parents teach their children to survive in the environment in which they were born. That's it. So, thoughts and prayers to all involved. But my bigger message here is, if you're a parent and you're watching this, one, get on your one job. You can add as many bullet points as you think you need to, but get on your one job, and that's to make sure the day that you can't take care of them, they can take care of themselves. That is your marker that you did a good job. That is the mark of a good parent. Because if they can survive, they can create generations that can survive, and that's how your legacy lasts. So keep that in mind. Color outside the lines when you need to, when you can. I'm never going to tell you how to do it. I'm just telling you what your job is. That's your job. How you achieve it, that's on you. But also, to the parent that, hear this or share this, stop making your kids feel guilty for doing the job that you were supposed to do. Do I need to give you my plant analogy again? I bought those plants. I got to keep them alive. And whatever I got to do to keep them alive is my responsibility, not the plants. Now, luckily, I got snake plants, so they don't require too much, but I'm on my job. That's all we got for today, man. I enjoyed today's show. Today was a charged show. I really did. I enjoyed it. As I always say, take care of each other. More now than ever, though, man. Shit is, like I said, we're 20 miles past shit getting real. We deep in the real already. We have to start looking out for each other. We have to start being able to locate resources. If you got a little corner in your house, I'll probably start putting a gallon or two extra water, over there. I'm not saying that I know what's coming. I'm just saying that you want to put yourself in the best position to succeed. Like I said, if your car can make it, look, let's put everything on the midterms timeline. If your car can make it to midterms, let your car make it to midterms. If you can deal with that roommate till midterms, which is November 26th, deal with that roommate. If you can hang on to that piece of job you got, or if you can keep making your ends meet the way you're doing them, if you can hold tight, because they letting people go as well, so you can hold on to the job and the job stop holding on to you. So for real though. So yeah, be like, it's time to fold in the ranks. It's time to lock in, and not lock in the sign of grind, which work and rest. But it's a time to kind of dig in the aunties and the ancestors. It's time to dig into those bags, that stuff they put in us, that stuff, that epigenetic stuff, the good part of epigenetics. You need to dig in that stuff, and you need to get in there. You need to learn how to buy a little amount of stuff and make a lot of food. You need to look that stuff up, start passing them secrets around. As Deontay Kyle would say, do the knowledge. I love grits and eggs. Anyway, yeah, like I said in the outro, till next time, take care of each other. I always thank you for watching. I really appreciate you. I just really enjoy it. So take care of each other. Be kind. Till next time.